Thanks for clicking on Just Beast Fitness. I'm your trainer Jasper Bravo. Today we are training our arms. If you're somebody who wants to have big arms which are well jacked and shredded, this is the arm for you. This is the workout for you. So on this episode, we're just going to show how we are training our arms just to make sure that we grow an aesthetic body. And we're starting with always we have to get ready, and that is by warming up. And we start by doing these close grip push-ups, and we're going for at least 20 reps just to make sure that blood is going to those joints, so that to avoid any injury, and also to make us ready for the workout ahead, because we're going to do some really heavy biceps and moderate triceps. And of course, for the sculpting of the body, we always go for very high reps, but there's always this discussion of whether you need to go light or you need to go heavy. How much is too much? But anyway, before we get to that discussion, we need to start with the first workout for the biceps, which is 21s, but here I call them 30s because I do 10, then the lower part 10, then the full part 10. That will give us 30 reps, and we're starting right now. Then on the lower part, I want you to notice one thing, that I am on the upper part, I'm doing the normal biceps curl. Then on the lower part, I'm doing the hammer curls. Then the complete one, I'm doing it with the arms wide open on the side. That is just to make me, yes, like that. You see the way I'm opening my arms on the side? That is just for the reason is for me to hit that bicep from different angles on one single set. We want to hit all those heads, because that's one hits all the two heads of the biceps at the same time in one workout. So yes, this is a very brutal workout, by the way. People usually do it mainly with the bar, but I like doing it with the dumbbells because of that movement and freedom, and that's the ability to allow me to hit different heads at the same time. Now we are supersetting it with some triceps. Today we are alternating, by the way. We superset biceps, then we directly to the triceps, just to make sure that we don't spend so much time. This is another very good workout for somebody who doesn't have so much time. This one will be very perfect. Now we do this exercise. This is the overhead extension, and this one is very good for those who are looking for a long head of the triceps. I want you to know that today we are hitting all the heads of all the arm, that is both the biceps and both the triceps, because we want to have that fullness of the arm. Sometimes you meet somebody and you notice that they have really jacked arms, but there's something missing. Sometimes it's just because one part is less trained than the other, and how to achieve that is by not training all the parts. So if you want to train and to have a very full and well balanced arm, you need to train all the three heads of the triceps and all the two heads of the biceps. Now going to the second set for these 21s. We're doing the same with the same weight, going for 10s. This is 15 kg, by the way, for those who are asking. This is just 15 kilograms. It's not that heavy, but for me it is. You know, I'm not as strong as most of you guys, so you understand. Sometimes wherever you see me lift, you can wonder, why is this guy suffering so much, and yet that weight is light on me. It's because I'm not as strong as you guys. You know, I'm working on that. I am working on getting stronger. And I want you also to know something, guys. There's something that I hear people say all the time, where people tell me that, man, I don't have a big arm, or I don't have a big body, or I'm not strong. And I'm like, bro, if you really want to be strong, it's not something you're born with. You understand? It's not something there's nobody who was just born smart and now you think you know everything. You see, everybody who is smart, there's a time they were dumb. There's a time somebody will think that is very strong in your gym. There's a time they were weak. And how do you become stronger? By training. You see, that's what Jocko Willink says. He says that you need to train for you to be stronger. You need to study for you to be smarter. You just need to get better. And the only way of doing that is by training. So if you notice that you don't have big arms, you should not say that, no, it's something to do with my genetics. You never know. You need to train first. Understand? Now we're going to the second set of this overhead, and I think this weight is just too heavy. Yes, this weight is too heavy. Now we have to reduce. Then now we see if now we'll be able to do it. I think now this is good enough. Yes. Now I want you also, this is the second set for this one, by the way, still hitting on the long head. So if anytime you go to the gym and you find that the same people who are just stronger than you or look better than you, it's because they just started earlier than you sometimes, you know, and the only way you can get to their levels or even sometimes surpass them is by training. You have to make the decision of wanting to get better, and that is not something you're born with. That is something you decide. You're not born smart, you're not born weak or strong. I mean, you choose, you make a decision that I want to be strong, I'm done being weak. Even the guys you meet, sometimes somebody's super flexible, you wonder how comes this person can stretch this much, can do such kind of stance. It is because these guys have trained for that. They've been doing it over and over again. So you need not look down on yourself. Rather, I'd advise that you find out what it is you want, find out what it is you need to do to bring it or to get it, and then you sit down and plan consistently on how you're going to do it, and then you start from day one and you do it and you do again and you repeat, and even when you don't see results, you do it again. Even when you feel like quitting, you do it again and again until you get wherever you want. And even when you get wherever you want, you continue doing it again. Even when you get stronger, you just keep on with it, because that's how we become better. That's what makes us human, the ability to improve ourselves in whatever area we want. If you want to be smarter, you need to study continuously. If you want to be socially, if you want to have a greater high emotional intelligence, you need to practice interacting with people. You need to learn these things, and the only way you get better is by doing, by working on it. You understand? So never look down on yourself. Now we are doing this concentrate. This is the first set for this workout, and is another bicep workout, by the way, and is very good for the peak of the muscle, because you notice when you do this workout, the weight is super heavy on the stretch. So this is it also kind of simulates the workout that allows you to stretch your arms like the preacher curls, because the weight is kind of heavy at the end. You understand? But I like it so much because it always allows me also to balance those arms for symmetry. Because when you want to have a symmetry, and symmetry means the left side of your body and the right side of your body is close, or if possible is equal and the same. And how do you achieve that? By doing single arms for the biceps. Now we are direct to very heavy. Now this is very heavy. This is called skull crusher or overhead extension. This is another workout again, which is very good for the long head but also the short head of the triceps. And today we are going a little bit heavy. Those are like 20 kgs each, but because these are super old weights, I think they're about 18 kgs each, which is still quite a decent amount of weight by the way to be able to move around. So I'm still proud of myself. There's a time we couldn't do this, but now we can. Why? Because we practice, because we turn up every single day. So we had to move for the second set. Now we are doing the same weight but aiming for higher reps. That's what we're doing right now. So we are doing these concentrates again. As you can see, we are really controlling this weight on the way up and on the way down, because it's very important. Sometimes when you throw the weight around without controlling it, could be the reason why your arms are not growing. You need to control the weight, because you are not training the joints, you are training the muscle, and the only way you can make that muscle really feel the work it's doing is just by not rushing the weight around, but instead you make it move slow. And I know that some people who usually watch the old school bodybuilders, and they used to throw the weight around, by the way. They really used to swing a lot, and you could think that that's what works. But I want you to understand also that these guys, most of them were juiced to the lungs. These guys were using a lot of performance enhancing drugs, so the results they were getting was not because they were training right, rather, but it's because of the steroids that they were using. So they didn't need to train optimally for them to get or to gain muscles. But as a natural bodybuilder, you need to look for every single thing that you're doing every detail you don't want to leave on the table. But that also applies even to guys who use steroids. It's even an advantage that if you can use steroids and still train right and control the weight the best way possible, and you push yourself to your limits, you are going to grow like crazy. So there's no loss in controlling the weight and having great reps. There is no loss in that. In fact, you can only win when you do that, because in doing that too will help you avoid a lot of injury. You don't want to get hurt. So this is the second set. By the way, already you can notice that I'm sweating and the arms are already feeling pumped. This is because I'm going for those high reps today on this specific workout, because it's a workout that I've not done for some time, so I need to really push it. Then we go back to another overhead extension, because today we are concentrating on the long head, but all the heads are hit today. And here also you can notice that I'm resting my back on that preacher bench. It's because I just want stability, and in this gym of ours we have to engineer ways in which you can get training to the latter, because there's some machines and some benches that we just don't have, and nobody can stop reggae. Life must go on. We must get the best we could. There are no excuses, no room for excuses. So if you are wherever you are at and you have a bad gym according to you, trust you me, your gym is just as bad as you can use it. Some people just have one Olympic bar and just some plates, and they build a decent physique. So you have the power, by the way. Now we're going to preacher curls, by the way. Also, here we are going for some heavy weights, and we're trying to control everything by the way as we do this workout, just to make sure that that bicep is pumped well and you avoid any type of tear, because people usually tear their muscles, especially their biceps, a lot on this preacher machine, and that is because people tend to throw the weight around when doing this workout, and that causes some injury. So to avoid that, we just control the weight. Then we superset it with some extension, tricep extension. Now this one mainly concentrate on the short and the mid head of the triceps. So because we have done most of the workouts were on the longer head, now we have to come and also do something for the short heads and the mid head. That's why we are supersetting it with this workout. And as you can notice, we are also doing very, very heavy weights, because I noticed that anytime I train my triceps with the heavy weights, I feel it more than when I don't. Then I superset it again with some dips, yes, just to make sure that that triceps is trained fully. We just want to get it beyond failure. And then, as I was telling you, I don't want you to ever feel like you don't have. There's some people say that my weakest part is arms. I don't have arms, or I don't have shoulders. I want you to know something. Any body part that is lagging behind, you should know that number one, it means you're not training it well. Or if you're training it well, then it is just your weak body part, which means you need to train it more than the other parts. So there's no excuse. There is no excuse. You're not disadvantaged anywhere. You can always improve your disadvantages until they become your advantages sometimes. Because I've seen guys who train their weak body parts, and those body parts come and even become their strong body parts, because they give it the extra attention and time. And that makes them to grow even more, and sometimes they can even surpass the other parts of the body. So that is very normal, that is very expected. And can you imagine if you had small arms, then you work on them till people now start asking you how you do train your arms. People start asking you, how do you build big arms like yours? There is some great pride that comes with that, and accomplishment. So always allow yourself to work on whatever you think that is not good enough. Don't accept mediocrity on anything, and don't ever call yourself weak. Instead, face it and say that this is not going to be my weakness. It's my weakness right now, but I'm not going to allow it to continue being my weakness any longer. You can always do that. In fact, you can even flip everything and make it now your strong part. Now we go direct to another set of tricep extension. This is for the cable, and as you can see, we are now, the psyche is up, by the way, because it gets to that place where you have trained so much that your body is so much pumped that each and every rep that you're doing, you're feeling it. That moment when you know that you're getting a real pump, that is now, it's called, the same way you usually have runners high, this one I usually call lifters high. You get that moment where now you start feeling like your body is now responding well to your each and every second of a move that you make with the reps. And that is a awesome feeling. There's no better feeling like that. So yeah, you can see that one, you getting to failure already on that one. And now time to see the pump. Wow, can you see that? This is now what we call hard work. This one is consistency. This is not talent. I don't want to lie to you guys. This one is not genetics. This is hard work, consistency, discipline, eating right. Understand? Just doing it over and over and over again until you see the results. And even when you see the results, you don't stop. You do it over and over again. This is 2025, by the way, and we are on a bulk, and this is how far the bulk has been. I don't know if you guys are seeing some change, but personally I'm noticing a lot of fullness in the muscles compared to last year, because especially compared to around January, this is now around 5 months into the bulk, and I think I love what I'm seeing right now. I think we've made great steps, and this is just wonderful. This is something to be admired. This is some great moves, and I think we are doing something right. And whatever it is we are doing right, we want to continue doing it, because we are not here to joke. We are here to do our best. We are here to improve each and every area of our lives as much as we want, because we are never going to accept how we were born. We are never going to accept our disadvantages, but instead we choose to be the best version of ourselves. And how do we do that? By pushing ourselves. As Sunika says, I want to treat my body so vigorously so that it can never disobey my mind. Look at that fullness. That fullness is crazy, super crazy, super duper crazy. And I can't lie to you guys, I love seeing this. We've made some progress. The sacrifices have been worth it. The every single day training have been worth it, and we are not getting just stopping. We are getting started.